In this video, we will explain what a Tanto is, one of the types of swords used by samurai. We will look at its definition, history, and the role it played on the battlefield. There are several types of Japanese swords, but what exactly is a Tanto? A Tanto is an extremely short sword with a blade length of about 12 inches or less. Unlike other Japanese swords, Tanto usually have little to no curvature. Additionally, the blade is flat, without a ridgeline, resembling the shape of a kitchen knife. This flat construction makes the edge sharper, enhancing its cutting ability. The most distinctive feature of a Tanto is the absence of a guard. Due to its size, it is often mistaken for a wakizashi, another short blade, but the lack of a guard distinguishes a Tanto. So when did the Tanto first appear in history, and what was it used for? The exact period when the Tanto emerged is not known, but short-bladed swords have been used in Japan since ancient times. Around the 10th century, when katana began to take shape, Tanto also started to be crafted. Early Tanto had no curvature, and their blades were narrow, making them less suitable for combat. The Kamakura period marked the significant production of Tanto. This era is considered the golden age of katana, with the emergence of samurai across the country. During this time, the tachi underwent significant evolution to become more practical, and Tanto followed suit. The blades became wider, and a slight curvature was added to the tip, making them more practical and sharper. Many renowned swordsmiths specializing in Tanto appeared during this period, and many Tanto designated as national treasures today were crafted at this time. The Tanto was primarily used on the battlefield. During the Sengoku period, Japanese battles typically started with archers and stone throwers, progressing to spears and swords as combatants closed the distance. The extremely short blade of the Tanto made it the weapon of choice after all other weapons were exhausted, used in close combat grappling with the enemy. Specifically, it was used to stab opponents through the gaps in their armor during hand-to-hand combat. It was also used to sever the heads of fallen enemies. Another significant use of the Tanto was for seppuku, the ritual suicide by disembowelment practiced by samurai. The short, flat blade of the Tanto was ideal for this purpose. After the Sengoku period ended, and wars became less frequent, the Tanto was no longer used in combat. However, it found a new role in the Edo period from the 17th century onwards. Women from samurai families began to carry Tanto for self-defense. The shorter blade was easier for women to handle compared to a full-length sword, and the lack of a guard made it easier to conceal in their clothing. Women carried Tanto not only to protect themselves, but also to maintain their honor by committing suicide if necessary. This self-defense Tanto was called Futokoro Katana, literally meaning pocket sword. To make it easier to carry, the Futokoro Katana was typically minimally decorated with features such as no wrapping on the hilt and no guard, designed for ease of concealment. So far, we have talked about the history of the Tanto, But there are also several types of Tanto. The Yoroi Doshi is a type of Tanto specifically designed for stabbing enemies through the gaps in their armor during close combat on the battlefield. This Tanto features a narrower blade and an extremely thick spine with a thinner tip, making it exceptionally sturdy. The blade length is typically about 11 inches or less, roughly the length of the forearm, as it is often held in a reverse grip with the right hand during grappling. Additionally, the Yoroi Doshi was worn differently from other swords to prevent it from being easily grabbed by the enemy during a struggle. The handle was positioned towards the back, and the scabbard's tip pointed forward. In addition to its primary function, it was also used as a foothold by inserting it into the gaps in stone walls when attacking castles. Next is the Mamori Katana, a protective Tanto. In samurai society, it was customary to gift a Mamori Katana to newborn children as a talisman to protect them from evil spirits and demons. Since ancient times, Japanese swords were believed to house spirits, and they were often used as talismans to protect their owners from illness and disaster. During the Edo period, the Tokugawa shogunate presented a Mamori Katana during childbirth in the shogun's household. Even lower-ranking samurai families would give toy Tanto with bells in bags as gifts. This custom continues today. In the imperial household, there is a ceremony called Shiken no Gi, where a Mamori Katana is presented by the emperor to a newborn royal family member on the day of birth or the following day. The Tanto is placed in a white scabbard and positioned next to the newborn's pillow. In traditional Japanese weddings, the bride wears a Tanto tucked into her sash. This practice harks back to the days when samurai daughters carried Tanto for self-defense. Today, it remains an essential part of the bridal outfit. The Mamori Katana is used not only for celebrations, but also for mourning the deceased, placed by the pillow or chest of the departed. This is done to protect the dead from evil spirits and impurities, and to ensure a safe journey in the afterlife. This tradition continues in modern funerals, where the Tanto or other sharp objects like scissors or kitchen knives used by the deceased are placed with them. Lastly, let's introduce a famous Tanto, Atsu Toshiro, a Tanto designated as a national treasure of Japan. This sword was crafted by Toshiro Yoshimitsu, one of the Tenga Sansaku, the three greatest swordsmiths in Japanese history, during the 13th to 14th centuries. It later became the treasured sword of the 9th shogun Ashikaga Yoshihisa and was passed down among many notable samurai. It is said that this Tanto was used in the seppuku of a certain samurai during its journey. The most distinctive feature of this sword is its thickness. The name Atsu Toshiro comes from its significantly thicker blade at the base compared to other swords. It is classified as a Yoroi Doshi, designed to pierce through the gaps in armor. The blade length is approximately 8.6 inches, with a base width of about 0.75 inches. Despite being very small among Tanto, it boasts a remarkable thickness of about 0.47 inches. Considering that the typical thickness of swords is around 0.24 inches. This makes it exceptionally thick and sturdy. Additionally, the blade's hamon, temper line, is of outstanding quality, making it highly valued as a work of art. This tanto is currently housed in the Tokyo National Museum. We hope you enjoyed this exploration into the world of Japanese swords. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content about the history of Japanese swords. Until next time, sayonara.